Go for it, buddy.
Well, welcome back to another episode of the Big Stiff Podcast. Scotty, how are we?
Good, mate. I'm good. How are you? You going well?
Very good, mate. I'm so excited for tonight. Do you know why?
Oh, tell me, mate. It's a big episode this one.
We've got arguably the best Australian boxer of all time on, Jeff Fenech. How are you, Jeff?
Yeah, I'm great, guys. Everything's a little rough with this COVID stuff, but look, we've all got to live with it. We've just got to make the best out of a shit-out situation.
Absolutely. Yeah. Are you how are you getting by?
Plenty of red wine and
Good, man.
I'm pretty blessed. Like my daughter lives next door. I've got my own gym at home, so yeah, I'm pretty lucky. I'm one of the lucky guys.
Awesome. So I'll just give you a little rundown to the listeners, just to give them a little bit of an insight of your growing up and a little bit about you. So you were born in St. Peters in Sydney, and after playing junior rugby league and getting into trouble with the police as a child, you turned to boxing, where you attended the Newtown Police Boys Club in Sydney. And there you met Johnny Lewis. From there, you had a stellar amateur career, which led to representing your country in 1984 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles. And you were selected as a team captain, buddy. Jeff went on to three world titles in different weight divisions, and is best known for his trilogy with Ghanaian boxer Azuma Nelson. Mate, what a rap!
Illustrious career, that unbelievable.
For me, I'm pretty blessed. Some of the things you went through were really important. Me going to the police club and meeting Johnny Lewis was like the real turning point of my life. I met somebody who who believed in me, who set goals for me that were very achievable, but he set goals that he believed that I could achieve, and I did. And the more goals that I achieved, the more that I wanted to. And after 20 odd amateur fights, I represented Australia at the Olympic Games. My opponents had hundreds and multiple hundreds. The three guys I fought had like 600 fights between them, and like I said, I was in my 25th, my 27th fight. So yeah, it was a huge something that I'll never forget, and I'll never forget the people who helped me get there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's brilliant. So I've got a few little questions just to break the ice. Just 5 questions, short, sharp answers. So bar or dance floor, Jeff?
Oh, bar by far.
Bar by far.
I only do. I don't dance because I can't.
Oh, you still are dancing in the ring. We've all seen it.
Yeah. Shimmy, bush.
So who's your hero, mate?
Boxing-wise, I love Roberto Duran. My heroes, I was a rugby league supporter all my life, so I love Ray Price and Peter Sterling. And
Awesome.
My real hero is my dad. My dad lived and survived through heart operations all my life. My dad never worked, and yeah, he's my real hero.
Actually, just on that, Dave Lydiard said to say good day to you.
I spoke to him yesterday. I spoke to Prince yesterday.
Oh, did you? Yeah. We spoke to him. I spoke to him a couple of days ago. He said to say good day to you. So we've got him on the show tomorrow. He's
a great, amazing athlete and a very close friend of mine.
Yeah.
Awesome. So something that people don't know about you, Jeff?
I think I'm an open book. Everything, whatever I do, people know whether it's good or bad, or something that I don't know if I care if people know, but my life today is about helping others and giving people that are less fortunate than me the opportunity to enjoy their lives. I love going out to restaurants, seeing people. I send wine to their table, I pay their bills. I love doing that. I just want to see people smile. I love that,
That's fantastic.
I love that.
That's fantastic. Favorite movie?
Shawshank Redemption.
Ooh, yes.
Fantastic. Great choice. Great choice. And favorite karaoke song?
Kenny Rogers, The Gambler.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Classic.
How good is that? So, Jeff, can you give us a little bit of insight of your background and where you grew up?
Yeah, well, like I said, my parents immigrated from Malta, and like I said, my dad. I remember being at hospital. I was at Royal Prince Alfred today, guys, because I was just getting my ticket on that check from the specialist there, and while I was there, every time I drive past the place, I remember that, 6 months of the year that my mum and family were there visiting my dad. My dad was sick all of my life, and but we lived in St Peters. I was brought up in St Peters, and it was a tough neighbourhood, and a lot of crime, violence, and also we had a lot of great friendships, and I think that it was a really important part of me growing up and my character today. And like I said, I'll never. People say, I'll never forget where they came. I'll always remember where I came from. People say Marrickville, but I'm a St Peters boy through and through, and I loved my upbringing. And it wasn't the greatest, but I did whatever I could to have a great life. And like I said, I got in trouble as a youngster because sometimes I wanted things that my parents couldn't get me. So I went out and done the best I could to purchase. Even if it was with no money, I still had a lot of things that I wanted. And look, although today, I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not proud of it. But like I said, I did what I had to do to live and to survive.
Well, just imagine if that didn't happen, you may not have met Johnny Lewis. So,
well, definitely not, guys. Had that not happened, well, Pat Jarvis was. I'll never forget that. I was playing cricket in a park, Simpson Park, across the road from my mother's house, and I ran this young kid out playing cricket because I couldn't get to bat. Well, it was his equipment. So he goes home, and all of a sudden, his whole family come because I wouldn't let him take the bat and stuff. And I'm into a fight, and it got pretty violent. And then I had brought my first car, and this family, I was like 17. This family would start hitting my car with a baseball with a cricket bat and stuff. So that got me cranky enough to pick up something else and chase them back to their house. So they locked themselves in, and all of a sudden I was breaking the door down, and the police arrived, and it was Pat Jarvis. And I'll never forget that. He was really nice to me. He gave me a chance. He asked me what happened. I told him this story, and although it was pretty far fetched, he pretended he believed me. He just told me to go home. And he said, "Listen, you should be doing something with your life. Go to the police youth at the Citizens Youth Club." And next day I was up there and doing some stuff. And like I said, I was very, very blessed to meet Johnny Lewis. We don't talk today, Johnny and I, but it was most probably the greatest thing that happened to me in my life, meeting him, because he did turn my life around.
Yeah, wow. That's
so,
amazing.
Can you tell us about the first day of boxing training in your life, and then carry on from that? Is like what's a normal training day for a boxer back then?
Oh no, the first day of my training life was I volunteered, being obviously thinking I was a tough little guy to box with somebody, called sparring back at the time. It's still sparring.
Yeah.
And practicing, and man, I've never been hit and hurt and winded that many times in my life. I thought that I could. Unless you know how to take a punch, it's scary, because like every time he hit me to the body, it was like I was going to die. Anyway, look, he didn't try to kill me. A friend of mine, I knew him, and at the end of it was the strangest thing that Johnny Lewis said to me, "Hey, son, have you boxed before? That was really good for your first, if that was your first box." And I thought like he was just milking me to go back there to get bashed up again every day. But all my friends were there. I couldn't say no, so I'll be back tomorrow. And I ended up going back. And like I said, really the rest is history. I had like total 28 amateur fights. I went to the World Cup. I went to Rome. The only time I travelled overseas was if I jumped on a boat without paying to go to Manly. That was me going overseas on the ferry, And then all of a sudden I'd travel the world boxing and had an amazing amateur career. That wasn't the greatest. I mean, I'd been defeated 5 or 6 times as an amateur, but I was always learning because I was such a novice. I always knew that every time I fought, I was getting there. And that's the secret to everything in life. If you work hard enough and if you believe in yourself and you set yourself goals that are achievable, you can do and be anything. And I'm testimony for that, because like I said, I started boxing at the end of 81. I went to the Olympics in 84. I was world champion in 85. I was 3-time world champion in 88, so, and should have been 4-time in 91,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, I honestly look at this. Everything happens for a reason. You know, when people say, "Would you change anything in your life?" and everybody says no, but me, man, I would change a million things. You know, but yeah, there's plenty of things I would change because, yeah, I mean, you know, but look, I've just been blessed. I've had amazing people around me, and at this stage in my career, in my life now, after I've been through a lot of things, I'm totally blessed. I've got an amazing wife, my wife Susie, and my family. Everything that I am maybe neglected a lot when I was younger, and you know, as I was that world champion with that big head, I didn't really need any of that. I thought my friends and everything and everybody was everything else. But as you grow older and you learn about who your real loyal friends are, my family are everything to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Marrickville Mauler, how'd you get that nickname?
The famous, they called him the Lord of the Ring, was Ray Connolly. And I had my first fight as a professional at the Marrickville RSL. I'm not even sure if it would have been that fight because he's just a genius. Ray was one of the greatest, the guy who introduced you in boxing history. And he called me the Marrickville Mauler. And well, that was pretty typical of the way I fought. I tried to maul my opponents. And so there was another great fighter, one of the greatest heavyweights, Jack Dempsey, was the Manasseh Mauler. So to get the Mauler after that guy was pretty. I was pretty happy with that nickname.
That's awesome. So, and you loved rugby league as a kid, Jeff. And did you have any aspirations to play in the NRL equivalent back then?
Well, I'm not sure if you guys know, but I retired in '89 and I went and played for Parramatta. Had a couple of reserve grade games. And listen, I say this and I'll say it again. If I could give all my belts back and let me play first grade for Newdown, Parramatta or South, and had I been good enough to represent, I'd give all my belts back because all I ever wanted to do was play rugby league. I played.
Really?
When I was 4 years old, I wanted to play. I played SG Ball, I played Matthew Shield, I played Jersey Flex. I'd done all the representative things, but I was a little small. I was 46 kilos when I was like 17, 48 kilos when I went to the Olympic. Well, I was 51 when I went to the Olympic Games, 51 kilos, which is 8 stone, you know. Today I'm maybe 10 and a half or 11. So, all I ever wanted to do was play rugby league.
What position were you playing back then?
I played hooker. I played in the rep teams. I played hooker and halfback, but I loved hooker. So because I could get involved and because I was so small, I was able to, work. My work rate was always very, very high. I loved my defensive. I loved and yeah. So yeah, I mean, like I said, if I could have a number 7 Parramatta jumper on my back, first grade, I'd totally give those belts away tomorrow.
That's such an amazing insight. Similar hooker position to Mario Fenech.
Yeah, I was only talking to Mario today, and like I said, he's not doing too great. He's a little bit of dementia stuff from his brutal career that he had as a rugby league player and a great rugby league player. But it was pretty strange that when I wanted to play hooker, but I would have loved to play against anybody. That was, for me, a challenge is everything, and I'll never back down to a challenge.
Beautiful.
So, you were captain of the Australian Olympic boxing team that competed at the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics. How much of an honour was that? And what was your reaction to the overturned decision in the quarterfinals?
The real honour was, like I said, for these guys who went to the Olympics with me, they all had 60, 70, 80, 100 fights. So for them to choose me, and they never chose me because I was the best fighter. They chose me because I was an outspoken guy. If we wanted something, I was the guy that was going to go and fight for it. And like I said, one of my great stories that the famous John Coates, who's the boss of our Olympics, he'll tell the story. He knows that because I had to go and visit him as soon as I got to LA after our camp in Colorado. Our management was such a dickhead, and that I went and bought a big python and I put it in bed while he was asleep. And when he as he got into the bed and he's seen his snake, he's nearly taken a heart attack and he's screaming. And he was
that is classic.
Rang up John Coates and told him that he wanted to be home. And I told him, I'm happy, I'll go home. This is while we were in training camp, and end up happily staying and, mending our fractured friendship. After the snake went in his bed, he was very, very close to me. He was very, very nice to me. You can't blame him because he thought he might get another snake or something. And, the Olympics was an amazing experience for me, an amazing experience. And like I said, I won my first fight, won my second fight, and then the first time in Olympic boxing history. I win my third fight. The judges say I win, and the jury overturns it, which, like I said, was really, really sad. To this day, when I think of the Olympics on now, I think, wow, I could that fight guaranteed me bronze, and you know, I could have been a medalist at the Olympics. I'm not saying I would have been a gold medalist, but I could have been a medalist, which is an amazing as being an Aussie and a medalist, and not just that. After 25 fights, after 28 fights, it's never been heard of in Olympic boxing. You know, so it would have been something that I would have never forgot. But like I said, I never forget going to the Olympics. I'll never forget representing my country, and I'll never forget giving my best. I mean, when people go to the Olympics, the great thing is you march, and then you have your after party. After parties maybe even better than the march. You know, and I never went to both, guys. I couldn't march. I had to fight that night, so I couldn't go in the march. I had to make weight, and I was doing it really tough. So if I went out in that heat, and it was very, very hot in Los Angeles, so I didn't march. And after they robbed me of my decision, I never went there for the march. I never went there for the after party, although I would have loved to represent my country and march at the opening ceremony. But I never went there for the after party. I went there to win a medal. Once they denied me of that, I got on a plane and went home. I didn't need to party. I wanted to come home. I said that day, I'll never forget, I got an interview with Graham McNeeson. If they won't let me win a gold medal for Australia, I'll win the world title. And 196 days later, I was world champion.
Awesome. Awesome. So you became the world champion in the bantamweight category. You defended that title against Shingaki in Sydney in 1985. That was your title. What was it feeling like?
Yeah, wow. Sure. After my seventh fight, I became world champion. Like I said, the shortest time in history back then. And
is that right? That was
yeah.
Wow.
My 3 world titles, and the record had just been broken 2 years ago. I was the fastest boxer in history to win 3 world titles. Till then, I was still the only boxer in history to win 3 world championships and be undefeated. I was the first boxer ever to do that. But when I won the world title, I don't know if it was a dream. People say, was it a dream come true? I never dreamed of being a boxer. I always dreamed of being a rugby league player. So I can never say it was it was a childhood dream, because I never boxed until I was 17. And look, when it happened, it was wow. You know, I can't even
life changing. I'd imagine.
Definitely so. Changed my life in a lot of ways. Then every time I became a world champion in another division, it changed my life even more. And after my 3rd world title, it changed my life so much I didn't even, when I think back to who I was, I don't even like myself, because I thought that, I get everything for nothing, and everywhere I went, I was, this not a spoiled brat, but I was this guy who would go into a nightclub, you don't pay, drinks for free, and restaurants give me food for free, taxis would take me place for nothing. I'm thinking, wow, there are people out there, when I think of it today, that they can't afford anything, but nobody gives it them for nothing, but they give it to people who can afford it for nothing, So we live in a crazy world.
Yeah, wow. So, Azumar Nelson.
Yeah, wow.
The trilogy. Can we get a bit of insight into that?
Yeah, look, an amazing human, maybe the greatest African fighter ever, which is a big statement, because there have been a lot of great African fighters. He's right up there with the greatest. So, I have no doubt that in my first fight I beat him at least could have been 10, but 9 rounds to 3. The judge, the people scoring the fight from the judges all thought the same. The whole world still thinks the same today. But look, I'm not going to say those people were corrupt, but they listen. When you work for somebody like Don King, and you know that that's a Don King fighter, the subconscious knows if it's a close round, they give it him all the time, because they know King's the guy who pays their bill. Don King's the guy who gets them to judge the fights and to referee the fights. So, it's not that they actually owe him anything, but like I said, when you get off a plane and somebody sends food to your room and feeds you and sends other things to your room as pleasure, things that you are obligated in a way, but you pretend you're not. But when it's a hard, tough fight like that, I have no doubt why those people rob me, because they rob me because they work for Don King, and that's no doubt.
Well, Scotty and I, we made sure we watched the full fights, and mate, you blitzed him.
Yeah, it wasn't close.
No,
it wasn't.
It was nowhere near one of my hardest fights. That fight was nowhere near one of my toughest fights. Villasana was tougher. Mario Martinez was tougher. Victor Kalages was tougher. Some of my other, Georgie Navarro was. I had a lot of, but I mean, that night I really stood up and I fought really well. And look, there are stories around the world saying, "Oh, he had malaria." Listen, if a doctor lets somebody fight with malaria, he shouldn't be allowed to be a doctor ever again.
Absolutely.
It's bullshit. But like I said, and that doesn't bother me. I know what I done that night, and I know why. In the return match, look, you got to take your hat off to this guy. He went back home, and the president of Ghana, the president told him, "Please don't go and fight again. Just retire. You've had an amazing career." And he said he's going to come back and knock me out. And guess what? Not only did he knock me out, but like I said, when I tell you about loving myself and hating myself, back then again, I was a total dickhead. I mean, sleeping with 3 and 4 girls every day because I was able to. Yeah, but I'm just being honest,
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Not that my daughter here, as I'm doing this, I'm saying this, but I'm proud as much to say that, but I'm saying, yeah, I was able to do that. It was like he's come back trained, he's better off, and he wants to fight me. Here, I'm thinking I'm just going to go back into the ring. I'm going to do exactly what I'm doing again. So, not that I wasn't hungry, not that I didn't want to win, not that I didn't train, but I did other things in that preparation I'd never done before. Like I was doing appearances, I just put a clothing line out, and like I said, no, we'll never take nothing away from an amazing job, and he's the first guy ever to knock me out. But he never fought the Jeff Fenech that he fought in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah. So you took 9 months off from boxing because of injuries to your fists. What injuries did you have, and what sort of mental battles did you have to overcome as well?
Well, I'll give you an example. In 1981, when I won, 83, when I won my first Australian title, I wasn't able to sleep 24 hours because I had to pack my both hands in ice to get the swelling down so I could just to pass the doctor. Yeah. I had injuries from first like after my first world title. Prior to fighting. Afterwards, Stephen McCrory had my first operation. I ended up having 7. I had pins put in both of my hands. I had wedges of bone cut out so I can make a fist because my knuckles stuck out. So my knuckles stick. Yeah, the index knuckle sticks out. So I had wedges cut so they could push it back down like that. And I had pins put in there to hold it there, but they never worked. The operations were unsuccessful, and I had to fight through. Look, no, I fought because I wanted to fight. I fought through pain and all that stuff because I wanted to. I don't, none of that bothers me. People say, "How did you do it?" I done it because I wanted to do it. I knew how to do it, and I've done it many times.
That's tough. That's honestly tough. Like seriously, I don't honestly don't know.
Well, you think
through that.
I don't know. Bit of a runner that won a race with a broken. I won the majority of my fights with broken hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus, yeah, and here we are. We're like applauding Sam Burgess for playing in a grand final with a broken cheekbone. You got 2 bloody broken hands, basically. Bloody hell! And who my hero's going to be?
Sam's my great friend. Let's see, I've got 12 mates. I was here on my own. Yeah. With the tools of my trade, to punch somebody with. Sam's an amazing. What he done for the Bunnies that year was amazing. Yeah, but like I said. It's always a little easier when you got 12 teammates helping you.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right. Yeah, he's a tough character, isn't he? He's one of the best forwards that the NRL's ever seen, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Cool. His brother Luke's better. My best mate Luke, so Luke's better.
Shout out to Luke there if you're listening, Lukey.
Luke.
So you made a surprise comeback in late 1995, easily winning 2 fights in November 95 and March 96. How did you come to the decision of making a return?
I always thought that I wanted to be 4-time world champion because they obviously robbed me of that opportunity, and I always thought that I'll just get back in the office and do my job, work hard, and it'll come back. But boxing's not like that. When you start losing fights and you lose your toughness and your chin, you cannot have operations on your hands, on your legs, but when your chin starts to go and you can't cop the punches anymore. Boxing is, like I said, you're on your own, so it's very, very difficult. And that happened to me, but I always tried to say I would recover from it, but the more and the longer I went, the worse it got. But like I said, I'm pretty proud of those things I done. I tried my best. I never took any shortcuts. So yeah, but like I said, when it was done, it was done. But I kept trying to fight the truth.
Yeah.
Bantamweight, super bantamweight, featherweight, all brilliant achievements, of course. But which one are you most proud of in terms of titles?
Well, my third fight, when I fought an amazing Puerto Rican fighter named Victor Calages, I fought him with my right hand was broken like a week and a half prior to the fight. And when that happened, I was on a health farm for to try to do all the things I had to do, and just trying to make weight without doing the hardest work I could do. But like I said, fighting him and the guy that could punch like him and with his record, like if you watch the fight, just watch the first round and see in about a minute and a half the first round, he hits me with a left uppercut and totally he knocked me out kind of, but still standing. I was totally blacked out and my hands just dropped and I lost all my equilibrium, and then I was able to recover very quickly because I was obviously fit and it was early, and I was able to go on and stop him in the 10th round to win my third world title. When I'd done that, I'll never forget because I had to get rushed straight to hospital. I had an operation on my hand the next couple of days because it was broken. But they were all special. But winning that one was against that caliber of fighter was very, very special because he'd already been world champion before, and it was like I said, he was an amazing puncher.
Yeah. Now, in terms of cutting weight, what did you do to cut weight? Did you sit in a sauna? Did you just go for runs after runs, or what was your way of cutting that weight?
I'm going to give you the greatest example about people losing weight in the world. Here's the lesson: we are what we eat. So I had to starve myself. I had to train like I trained 12, 15 rounds every day and drink nothing for days. Total dehydration. There were like the night of my fight, the night prior, I never slept. Maybe an hour I'd sleep early, and then because my mouth was so dry and I had no fluid in there, it was terrible back then, And back then, don't forget, I weighed in at 12 o'clock the day of the fight. Today they weigh in 36 hours before. I weighed in 8 hours before, so it wasn't a lot of time to rehydrate and put all that weight back on. So yeah, it was different. Boxing, it's a little different today. But like I said, making weight was definitely the hardest thing. And once I made weight on the scales, I was always confident straight away. After I had my mum's ravioli and I rehydrated, I was always, going to do the job.
Yeah. Just another one. You love your rugby league. Do you have much to do with any of the rugby league clubs? I actually saw a video of you doing a bit of a boxing session with the West Tigers.
Yeah. Look, I've become very, very close friends with Madge Maguire and one of his guys who does. What's that? No,
Benny Alliance. Yeah.
Very well, yeah. But also a guy named Jimmy who does a lot of their training. So I go down to help them if they want to. I've done some speaking with him. I've spoke to him, and like I said, I feel very, very sorry for Madge because I know how passionate he is and how much he loves the guys and how much he wants them to win. Like it's really hard to win if you don't have the cattle. I just don't believe that he has the team. Yeah, that's gonna. He believes in them, but I don't know if they believe in themselves enough to keep doing what they're doing. But he's a great coach, great man, and being around him has taught me a lot about treating people as individuals, and everybody's different because he treats everybody differently. And he's got a lot of guys that he's got to spend time with. So, yeah, not that I love the Tigers now, but I'm a Tigers fan because of my association with Madge and Jimmy.
Yeah. Well, playing Adam Doueihi at 5'8's a start, isn't it? So
yeah, we've got to realise Adam's my friend as well, and when they put Adam to centre, he put him there because he knew that he could handle another position and keep the team strong. But now back at 5'8", I think he's going to be very, very much more devastating.
Yeah. I saw on your Instagram the other day you had a picture of you and the King, Wally Lewis. Good mates, buddy.
Yeah, I was very, very blessed that Dan Staines, who played for Queensland and Cronulla, lived with me at my house here in Five Rock, and I was very, very welcome to the Queensland State of Origin team for years, where Dick Tosser-Turner, the manager there, had me up every let me train them and help with their preparation, and done lots of, speaking to the boys. So back for a few years, although I'm from New South Wales, I had a lot to do with Queensland.
Mm.
Yeah.
If you see the famous try by Mark Coyne, that famous try.
Yeah, bloody hell, that's on try. It's a miracle.
Have a look at the sideline. Who's with what? I'm with the coach coming up and down. I got a Adidas shirt on. That's me. I'm on the bench with Queensland. So like I said, I was very, very close to him. Yeah.
Mate, I'm a Queenslander, so you're practically a Queenslander. Come on, come up, you come.
Like I said, I'm just loyal that Dan was here, and I trained him every day, and I trained a lot of the other boys from the Queensland team. So it was a great time for me back then, And
for sure,
Queensland were winning, so it was even better.
Yeah,
that's right. So is there a specific boxing match that stands out to you?
Fight that I've watched.
Yeah. Oh, just you competing in. Is there one that stands out to you the most?
Again, when I fought, one of my toughest fights ever was a guy, Marcus Villasana, who went on to become the featherweight champion of the world as well. I fought him with 2 broken hands, and I'll never forget the last few rounds. I was like just pitter-patting, hitting him as soft as I could, but trying to hit him as many times to keep winning the rounds. And that was one of my important ones. And I go back to when I fought that Victor Collages. I'll tell you a little story. It's on one of my videos. It's on my video called Fennec Fighter. When they interviewed him, they went to Puerto Rico to interview him for the video. And he said, his story was this. He said, when I hit Jeff Fenech in the first couple of rounds and I heard him, he thought, I'm going to knock him out. The fight's going to be over. He said, after about 2 or 3 rounds, I kept going back to the corner, and he would say to his trainer, am I fighting a human? I'm hitting this guy harder than I've ever hit anybody else. Still standing up. That were his exact words. He said, am I fighting a human, So, look, like I said, I've done, like I said.
You were a fucking machine back then. You were a machine. Yeah. The speed of your hands, mate, they were fucking lightning. And that's why, like, listening to you now, you're not exactly, well, and even listening to your interviews, like, post-fights, there weren't really many excuses for yourself. Like, you left it all out in the ring. And growing up with someone like Anthony Mundine, who has every bloody excuse under the sun, it's refreshing to hear that. And we almost want to, I think we're going back to that style of fighter where the younger blokes coming through, and we'll pick your brain about which are some of the stars, but I think some of the younger blokes are taking on your mantra.
Well, definitely, if you see my young fighter, Brock Jarvis, people, they stare you down prior to a fight. When I tell Brock, don't even look, just look to the canvas. I hate these commentators when they say, "Oh, he won the stare." What the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
How scared in a fight? If you look tougher than me, if you make me blink, how's that going to make you win the fight? It's bullshit. So Brock just looks at the floor, and we let our fists do the talk, And I'm very, very proud of him. I'm proud that I have brought him up that way, where he's not one of those loud guys. He just goes down, like I said, if you see all the guys prior to fighting him, we're going to knock him out, he's a kid, he's this, he's that. He just goes out there and he does his job and he beats them all. But then they've got excuses after it. So,
exactly.
But whether we win, hopefully we'll never lose, but we'll never have excuses. We always prepare the best we can.
Yeah.
Amen.
I've actually got a couple of questions from a couple of fans from ours. So Connor Lizzo, he wants to know about Tim Tszyu and the future of Australian boxing if we're going in the right direction, if we've got a couple of champions coming up.
Oh, we've definitely got some great champions coming up. Tim Tszyu's, wow, I think he's really special. I think the people he was supposed to fight for a week or so ago on TV, the champion and the challenger, and it was a draw. I honestly believe that he can beat both of them. I think that the great thing that Tim's got on his side, that he's a real good thinker and he sets things up. When I watch him, I think, wow, he's such a smart fighter. He's not young, but he's not old. And for the amount of experience that he's had, he's got a great head. And he's got a great pedigree. Costa, his dad, was one of the greatest fighters in history. could punch. Tim's not as big a puncher as his dad, but I think that's going to come as well. But the one thing that Tim does that none of these guys in America will be able to handle is his volume of punches. Where, you watch a fight over in America, at the end of the fight, they say, this guy threw 280 punches in 12 rounds. This guy threw 190, 70 landed. See, Tim throws, 100 and something every round. When I fought, I fought around 200 a round. So
I was about to say, mate, you threw them a lot.
Yeah. So when Tim gets in the ring with these guys, as long as his defense and that is good, these guys are going to die after 4 or 5 rounds, and he will be victorious. And like I said, we've got the 2 Maloney brothers that are over in America now, and hopefully one's going to come home world champion. And look, we've got Liam Paro in Brisbane. We've got some great fighters. Like I said, my young boy Brock Jarvis. We've got some very, very good talent here in Australia. But if there's anything wrong with Australian boxing and the stuff here, is that all of these people, we're all against each other. They're all jealous. Nobody will ever ring, Jeff, do you think that my fighter should do this or should he do that just for an opinion? No, they think they know everything themselves. And that's the biggest problem in Australian boxing. There's a lot of jealousy. There's a lot of different groups of people who they're in that bunch or that, they're all different. They're not on teams, but they're just people that are against people. They'd rather bag people and talk about people than ask people for advice and help. But that's the same. Look, I mean, jealousy is maybe the greatest disease in the world. Jealousy is a disease that has no cure for. So I mean,
absolutely,
never be fixed.
Yeah. And another question from Peter Brett. Now you've mentioned Brock Jarvis a couple of times just then. He just wanted your thoughts on him, and do you think he's a world champion in the making?
Yeah, look, it's crazy that every fight he has, he's getting better. This kid had 13 amateur fights. Again, he started boxing at 16, so he's 23 now, so he's learning. And the great thing is I've had him since the start, and getting better and better every fight. Where I've just got a boy, a young boxer from Melbourne. His name's Cesar Afakan. He's a Turkish boy who's amazingly talented. But now I've got to try, and he's got all these skills and ability, but now I've got to try to change him where I built Brock up and I taught Brock what to do. So it's all a challenge. But look, I honestly do believe that Brock will be world champion. Brock, I'll give you guys a scoop. Tonight, we will sign a contract with Matchroom, Eddie Hearn. Tonight, we'll sign our contract, and we'll be sending it tomorrow. Brock's just done a deal with Eddie Hearn in the UK in America. We're hoping Brock fights on the undercard to Canelo in his next fight, and he'll let the world see him. And like I said, again, I'm not going to put the cart before the horse. We'll take it one step at a time. But I honestly do believe that with the rate of improvement and the way Brock is fighting, that he can be, and I believe he will be world champion.
Oh, beautiful.
Well, if he can be the half of the man and the fighter and the household name that you are, mate, then he's on a very good track to a long career. Yeah,
for sure. We'll wrap up then. I'd just like to thank you, Jeff, for joining us. We really appreciate your time. One of the more humble sports people that we've met. Those big stars that everyone looks up to. They don't really give a lot of people the time of day, but you have, and we really appreciate it.
Hey guys, I'm only a star because of the people who watched me, because of you guys. If it wasn't for the people of Australia that paid away, I'm nobody. So I just want to say, for me, it's been a pleasure to be on the Big Stiff podcast. You guys obviously have done your homework, which is really, really important. I've enjoyed this totally, and hopefully you'll go on to bigger and bigger and better things because you're a pair of great guys. It's first time I've spoke to you, but it's been an absolute pleasure.
No, thank you very much. We really appreciate it, and have a good night, mate. Enjoy those wines.
Stay safe down there, mate. Stay safe in the bubble.
Before I go, who's the big stiff out of you guys? Who's got the big stiff?
We haven't really spoke about that, So how big's yours?
Name the big stiff. One of you's got to have than the other.
Yeah,
come on, let it out, boys. Let it out.
I don't know, Scotty. Go on, Scotty.
I'm not getting me dick out. Fucking hell. This goes live on fucking Facebook.
Before you go, Jeff, what are you doing now? Do you want to promote anything that you got your gym and your have you got anything else on the burner?
You've got a podcast as well, don't you?
Look, obviously I'm doing the commentary for Fox Sports, and I love that because I love just calling it as I see it. I love that part of my life now that I can sit down, I can analyse something, and I tell the truth. Sometimes I get caught, oh, mate, you're going to bag me again. If you deserve to be bagged, I'll bag.
Exactly.
I'm only going to tell the truth, you know. Look, I've got a really good little crew of people. I'm training a girl by the name of Kate. I've got that boy from Melbourne. So I've got a good little crew. I've got Jack Brubaker. So like I said, I've got a good little crew of boxers at the moment. I've got a kid from Tasmania called Tyler. And I'm really enjoying, giving these kids the best opportunity they can to be the best they can. And that makes me more happy than anything I've ever done. No money, nothing can replace or make me happier than when I see the people that I'm looking after happy.
Yeah,
that's awesome. It sounds like you found your home in the boxing ring, and it's never really left to your heart. So yeah, it's good, mate.
Hey, it left me for a little while. I had a little break because of certain things. But like I said, the greatest thing that I've got, apart from obviously that I'm still involved in the sport of boxing, is my family. My wife and my children are amazing. My son-in-law, who's sitting here with me tonight, are amazing. And that when you've got that, then you've got everything. That's family and being happy is everything. And I'm blessed. So thank you guys for this opportunity.
No true words spoken. Thanks, Jeff. You're a legend.
Appreciate it.
Love you all.
Love you
Love
too.
you, mate.